best, it's Sunday best. Mother's tired, she needs a rest. The kids are playing upstairs. Sisters saying in her sleep. Brothers got today to keep you coming around. Our house in the middle of our street. Our house in the middle of our.
Welcome, you guys, to the Gooner Eagle Eye. Thought I'd play a bit of madness because that seems to be as close as we're going to get to actual madness. And for actual people who are wondering, what exactly does madness mean? Well, it's in reference to people on Twitter believing that madness will happen and Vega will go on some mad last-minute spending spree. That seems to be dominating Twitter. And I figured, fuck it, why not? Let's just play some madness and get it over with. So, yeah, that was a little treat for some of you madness fans. But anyway, it's your boy Chig from Gooner Eagle Eye coming to you again with episode 5. A little tired. Feels like I've done about 6 days already. Just managed to get past hump day. Fortunately, I'll have a slightly easier finish to the week. So, yeah. I figured I'd do a show just to give you guys a heads up in terms of future plans. So, as you guys know, I usually do a preview show and a review show. And we're actually going to do a preview show with Robbie Richmond tomorrow, who is a Liverpool fan. So I figured that might be a little bit interesting for you guys, just to get his take on or what he hopes and what he expects and what sort of lineup he hopes to see Liverpool play. And I'll give my own take and we do a little preview show. So it's the first time I've done a preview show like that. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. But yes, in terms of today's show and in terms of what we're doing today, it's really going to be me freestyling it. I normally have some sort of loose agenda. But I figured I'd talk about, I'm getting a lot of kind of comments and inbox messages and stuff like that from people who are wondering why I've not quite lost my rag. My rag is going to get lost at the end of the transfer window. I'm trying to remain as calm as possible in spite of what some of my tweets might suggest. But I'm trying to remain as calm as possible, trying not to get too carried away, trying to just be as reasonable as I possibly can. I mean, I guess since I last spoke to you guys, some tidbits of news. So a lot of stories have seemed to have developed this week. So from everything to, well, a lot of things seem to have come out today all of a sudden. So I started off the day by reading that with a £30 million bid for Wilfred Broney. I threw down my phone as soon as I read that, and I was just like, oh, for crying out loud. And then I mean, what I should have done was read the story a little bit carefully, but it seems like a lot of people around Twitter and a lot of people in the press since that story have kind of discredited that. Thank God. I liked Wilfred Broney for about 2 minutes when he played for Swansea. He hasn't done a damn thing since he went to City, and I could have believed that story. I really could have believed that story. Then again, desperate, so he figured out, well, Boney's available, let me go and get him. So I'm glad to at least, I'm hoping anyway, still so far that story seems to be the case, that's no longer the case and it's no longer going ahead. Boy, I mean, a lot of things have happened today. So, I mean, the two players that we seem to be most linked with today is Mahrez and Mustafi. In terms of Mahrez, so there was a story that came out this afternoon that Wenger had actually bid 30 million for Mahrez, which was turned down. And the plan was to go back in with a £35 million bid. tried to kind of just kind of move away from that. They're suggesting that there is interest in Mahrez, but there is no formal bid that's coming from Arsenal. As per usual, dithering, as per usual. And I know a lot of people on Twitter. I actually saw a good question from Chris Hudson. If you don't follow him already, if you've ever seen on one of Robbie's videos on Arsenal Fan TV, and he has a kind of one of his most popular videos is a kind of an older guy who basically just says everything that every Arsenal fan felt after that game that we lost against Villa 3-1. I think it was our opening fixture. It was about 4 or 5 years ago, that game now. But, oh my gosh, he went into one. Absolutely went into one. It was said that a lot of people saw it, including Arsene Wenger, saw that video. Anyway, but he does come out with occasional genius tidbits on Twitter. And he actually asked a really good question on Twitter. He said, if we signed Mustafi and Mahrez, would you be happy going into the season without a striker? My opinion, and I'd be quite interested to hear what you guys think. My opinion is this. Honestly, that striker issue addressed. Now, even if that solution then means we've bought a winger so we can move Alexis and make him a striker, so be it. But at least you brought someone in to address the issue, even if it isn't a directly, even if it's not directly addressed, if that makes sense. I would still personally prefer a striker. I personally and realistically at this point prefer a Lacazette. I think he would fit our team so much. But I suppose that was the other story today, was that it seems like Lyon had placed a £60 million on Lacazette's head. It was always going to happen. They don't want to sell him. And I think as you get closer to the end of the season, why should they? I think that attitude is, well, you know, who are we going to get in to replace him at this late stage now? So we're just going to hold on to him for as much as we can. I think they'll sell him for 50. But it's going to require us to go up to 50 now. And whether Wenger's prepared to do that, I don't know. Because, again, he came out, I think it was yesterday or Monday. I'm losing track of time, guys. Manchester's taking it out of me. I think it was on Monday. He came out and he straight up admitted that he spends money as though it's his own, which to me is absolutely insane. It's insane. What do you mean you spent money? What do you mean? But it's not your money. It's not really the club's money. It's our money. It's our money. And you refuse. You're just sitting on it and sitting on it and sitting on it. And then he said a quote. I'll tell you what, if I hear that shit at the end of the transfer window, and we're still in this position, you're going to see and hear an almighty rant from me, where he basically came out and he said to us, "Oh well, you know." It came out. It was today actually. He came out with a sentence. He went, "Oh well, you know, it's really hard for us to try and locate and find the players that are available." Don't say things like that. Don't. It's not going to wash this season. It didn't wash last season, but you somehow, some way, got away with it with only a couple of critics. But when you're seeing people like Ashley Williams, now don't get me wrong, Ashley Williams, I think, is someone we could and should have bought 2-3 years ago when we were being linked with him. Good defender, solid, strong, Premier League experience, a leader. Very, very important to stress that, a leader. And he's someone that I would have rather we bought 2-3 seasons ago. Having said that, having not bought him 2-3 seasons ago, and he was available this summer, and you think to yourself, all right, well, I don't want to spend 30 million on Mustafi, which to me seemed pretty evident. And I'll come to Mustafi in a second, because even though you're thinking, well, Chris, if you've not just read the story that's come out recently, yeah, bear with me, I'll come back to Mustafi. But you think to yourself, Ashley Williams happened. You can't be telling me he'd rather go to Everton than Arsenal. You can't be telling me he'd rather go to Everton than Arsenal. He would have been 12 million, and at the very least, he would have served some sort of purpose. He would have been some sort of player that a Chambers and a Holding could learn from. Give us a couple of seasons at the top level, and then he can move about his business for 12 million. That's not bad. Or as Sky reported, he went for 9.5 million. How the heck did Wenger miss that one? So the only thing I can think of is that he's all in on this Valencia guy, which I suppose I might as well segue to that now. So there's a story coming out. I probably retweeted it too soon, in hindsight. I saw a story recently, literally from a guy who reckoned that we completed the Mustafi deal. And I was going to retweet it, and I must have retweeted it by accident. And I thought to myself, hold on, when do Arsenal ever do a deal quickly? And lo and behold, I retweeted it way too quickly. I looked, and it seems as though the only thing that's happened is that, Mustafi liked one of Xhaka's deals, so immediately, apparently, people are losing their shit because of it. Oh, come on. If that's all it is, come on, people. Come on. Let's get this straight. Come on. I swear, the things that people deduce just from things on Twitter. So he liked a picture, I think it was on Twitter or Instagram, one of the two, right? And that apparently meant, and I think it was a Twitter of Xhaka and his girlfriend, and that apparently meant that because he did that, it must mean Mustafi's on our way to Arsenal. These are the kind of things that people ridicule Arsenal fans for. You know, I listened to one ridiculous Ball Street opinion thing where they're doing like a predict, and I like Ball Street as a channel. Go check them out if you've not checked them out already. I think they're a good channel, good people on there. But they were doing a Premier League predictor thing. And I knew Arsenal were going to get shitted on because Robbie wasn't there. I watched it, and I thought to myself, oh no. And then they predicted that Arsenal would finish 6th. I just chuckled to myself. But it comes to a point where you think to yourself, well, if other people have that opinion of you, you know pundits have that opinion of you. Arsenal legends are not backwards and coming forwards about telling you how you need to strengthen your team. Then you come to probably the most scariest part of any of the stories I read today, was that Ozil and Sanchez have both stalled on discussing their contracts extensions. That to me worries the shit out of me. Because I think to myself, well, so they're into their last 2 years of their contract, what are we going to do? If we lose them, what are we going to do? But if you're them, why would you extend? You have a manager who's in his last year of his contract, and then that same manager who could at least say to himself, all right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Because I believe this is his last year. Just based on the way the questions that he's answering, he doesn't feel like. I think genuinely last season shook him. It really shook him. I don't think he expected the criticism and the level of criticism and how vocal that criticism was towards him. Even me myself, you know, up until maybe 2 years ago, I was a somewhat passionate Wenger in. And in the last 2 years, that has eroded very quickly. The year before last, I was more, okay, I think he should go now, but all right, he signed a contract. Let's just see what happens. We finally got that cup. We finally got that FA Cup. Let's see where we go. That was my attitude. My friend, who I'm also going to have on the show at some point as well, was adamant that when we won that FA Cup, that was the time when he should have gone into the sunset. And on hindsight, I absolutely 100% agree. He didn't. And instead, he stayed on and nothing has changed. And at the same time, if you're an Alexis or if you're an Ozil and you think to yourself, well, you know, what reason do I have to stay? All right, we finished second. Let's be honest. As fun as it was that we finished second, we didn't deserve no second place. I don't want to hear that we deserved a second place because we didn't. We didn't deserve anything like second place. But we got there. But if you're Alexis and Ozil, really, what on earth are you going to sign an extension for? Because let's be honest, both of them are getting to critical ages. Ozil is 27, Alexis is 28. Let's be honest, their next contract is their biggest contract. It's their key contract. And as per usual, we always lose our key players around this sort of time. Bar Cesc, who genuinely wanted to go home, we always lose our key players around this kind of time, 27, 28, 29. It's ridiculous. So I wasn't surprised, but man, I was depressed for a while when I read that story. Because I can believe it. I can believe that Alexis is thinking, well, why would I sign an extension now? I could believe that Ozil is thinking, well, no. Let's see what he does first at the transfer window, at the end of the transfer window. Let's see what he brings in. And the answers that I gave as a fan, all right, let me take my fanship out of it for a second. As a mere watcher of the TV, when I watched Arsene Wenger give that interview today, he doesn't fill me with a man that is confident that they're going to seal something at some point. He doesn't inspire me to believe that we're round the corner of something big, of madness, if you like. Instead, he looks like someone who's genuinely terrified. And in a way, I don't blame him. Who's genuinely terrified that in 22 days, or whenever it is, when that transfer window closes, he's going to have a lot of angry people to deal with. In a way, that international break will become at the very perfect time for Arsene Wenger. Because I have a feeling that we're about to see people lose their collective shit, including me, if we are still in the same position in 3 fucking weeks' time. And I think, and I hope I'm wrong. Oh man, I hope I'm wrong. But just watching that interview, I got a feeling we're not going to be pleased in this transfer window. In a way, even if he makes the signings he does, you could argue that we probably won't be happy either way. Because these people should be ready for the Liverpool game on Sunday. These people should be up to speed with our team the way Xhaka is now. And yeah, don't get me wrong, Xhaka is a wonderful signing. But are you not getting tired of every time we have 3 problems, one of them gets addressed? None of them gets addressed. 2 of them get addressed. Why not just address, I don't know, all of the problems that we have? And this is the thing, don't get me wrong, people. I hate Jose Mourinho with a passion. He is the #1 reason why I cannot stand Chelsea, right? And I mean, I hated Man United before, but that's about to go through the roof this season. I know it, right? But no one can fault the business that they've done. In a way, I'll be honest, I'm completely and utterly envious of the transfer business that they've done. Not necessarily just because they've signed Pogba, but the way that they've identified players and said, you know what, we'll have him, and they close it out. You know, the Pogba deal took a long time to get over the line. Can you imagine Arsenal doing that Pogba deal? We would have given up 2 weeks ago. It took a long time to get over the line. And I'll tell you what, I know a lot of Man United fans. I have no idea why, I just do, right? I know a lot of Man United fans, and not one single one of them had doubt that Pogba deal was going to be done. If that was an Arsenal fan trying to close that Pogba deal, I can promise you 90% of those Arsenal fans would be thinking, oh boy, it's about to fall through. Ask anybody about Mustafi now. Can guarantee you, at least half of those Arsenal fans think that Mustafi deal will fall through, because we don't close out businesses anymore. Because for some ridiculous reason, there's only one man that closes out all of our transfer business. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Our biggest signing won't be a player. Our biggest signing won't even be a manager. You know what our biggest signing is next year, June 2017? A director of football. A director of football will be our very biggest signing. Someone who will say to a manager, give me your... Just listen to Jose. Jose said it at the very start. I gave him a list of players I wanted, and then I've just let them get on with it. Because that's all you should do as a coach. You shouldn't worry about finances. You shouldn't worry about, oh, well, I don't think they're worth that. Do you think Balassi is worth 30 million? Hell no. Balassi ain't worth no 30 million. But I'll tell you what, if you want a Balassi, pay 30 million for Balassi. Mahrez ain't worth 40 million. But if you want a Mahrez, pay 40 million. Lacazette ain't worth no 60 million. And don't get me wrong, worth 60 million. And I desperately, if I could have one signing, it would be him. I'll be honest. It would be Lacazette. He ain't worth no 60 million. But you know what? If we needed to close it out, I would have literally no problem us closing that deal out at 60 million. Yeah, it's dear, but at least it shows some sort of ambition. At least it shows some sort of aggression. At least it shows some sort of, you know what? Cool. You want 60 million? We're having him. And that is what we want as Arsenal fans. This is what outside people don't understand whenever they listen to Arsenal fans. They think that, oh, we're demanding, oh, we want the world, oh, we're being too selfish, oh, Arsenal fans are being too ridiculous. Like I said, I watched this Bull Street channel, and all you saw was these people basically and don't get me wrong, I like the Bull Street channel, but they were ridiculing Arsenal fans, saying that, you know, they are the #1 reason why that team suffer. My rebuke to that would be that if, as Arsenal fans, we believe that the manager brought what was needed in order to improve the team, and it was the team that needed encouragement, there is no doubt in my mind the fans will get behind the team. It's just that every season, you don't give us anything to be optimistic about in the first place. So in every season, we go into that season with pessimism. And even the most optimistic fan, let's say a tie, is in a minority. And in the back of their head, and in deep in their heart, they don't believe we're going to do anything because we're not addressed the issue that the same optimistic fan admitted we needed 3 months before. I heard Ty say last season, oh, well, we need a striker, we need a defender, we need a midfielder. If he tells me we're going to win the league after only buying one of those things, then he's full of, and I like Ty, but he's full of shit, if that's the case. I don't care if it's that Ginger Chris on Arsenal Fan TV, if it's Ty on that Arsenal Fan TV, or the governor who everyone seems to have beef with, or whatever optimistic Wenger-in fan there is. If you're telling me that you know that we needed 3 things and you got one of them and you still believe you're going to do something, you're having a laugh. You're having a laugh. And I'm not particularly negative. I just want to feel I want to go into a season just one time feeling inspired, feeling excited, feeling like, oh man, we might actually do something. Just for a minute, I thought that, with Aubameyang, maybe, just maybe, Wenger is secretly trying to work on an Aubameyang deal. I should have known better. So as for madness, whether it's Aubameyang or oh my goodness, Lewandowski is a story I'm seeing going around. Motherfucker, please. Why would Lewandowski leave Bayern to come to Arsenal? Why? Unless Bayern flat out said they didn't want him. Why would he leave? We're just going to get the same old excuse. Because Lyon, who are a difficult club to deal with, I said this to you guys from the very start, they are a difficult club to deal with. You must know historically they're a difficult club to deal with. If you came to them, almost like the Liverpool situation, if you came to them with a real bid, that's the reason we didn't get Suarez. Because you didn't just give Liverpool 50 million and come with a real bid. You had to take the piss and give them 40 million plus one because you thought it triggered a clause. And then you were made to look foolish. And in my opinion, made to look equally foolish by it categorically being known that 40 million would get Lacazette. So what the heck do you do? Not only do you not go to 40 million, you bid less than what West Ham did, which, by the way, the West Ham bid got rejected. What made you think that they would accept a less bid than West Ham? Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And if there is one man that's responsible for that, then it has to be Wenger. And that's why I honestly believe our biggest signing will be a director of football. Because a director of football will say to someone in Wenger's position, what are the players you want? Give me a first choice, a second choice, and a third choice. There's your list. Cool. Don't worry about anything else. We got it. You don't get the first choice. You go back to the manager and you just say to them, look, I didn't get the first choice, but I'm working on the second and I've got the third on standby, just so you know. That's all you need to say. You don't need to update them with anything else. The wages, don't worry about that. We've got that. Don't worry about anything else. We've got that. People are talking about how they miss David Dean. I miss David Dean too. But quite frankly, as long as they had someone who was suitable in that position, it doesn't need to be David Dean. It just needs to be someone who's and I need to stress this, a footballing person. Not a business person, a footballing person who can close out that deal. And that, by the way, shouldn't be Arsene Wenger. I want to make that clear. If Arsene Wenger steps down as manager today, I used to want him behind the scenes. But now, he needs to move away from the club for a while. Just for a while, move away from the club. Get a footballing manager who's going to close out those deals, who knows what they're doing, who's not going to scrimp and spend money like it's his own. Really go out and close a deal. That's what I want as an Arsenal fan. I would suggest whether you're Wenger in or Wenger out, I think that's what most people deep down want. For us to look like we're doing something. And then do you think if we're showing that type of ambition, it doesn't need to be a Lewandowski that we go for. It doesn't need to be a Griezmann that we go for. But just show some sort of level of ambition to say to themselves, I can guarantee you, let's be real here, half of you guys ain't even heard of Mkhitaryan. But most of you guys would have loved Mkhitaryan. That's why I'm saying it doesn't need to be a Pogba level type of person. Just get somebody in who's going to excite and unite and give the fans some sort of hope and optimism for the season. That's all we want. We want to support our team. We don't want to moan all the time. I promised that this wouldn't turn into a rant, and somehow it's turned into a rant. So then we look ahead to the weekend, and boy, oh boy, I am nervous. I'm really nervous just because I guess it depends what Arsenal shows up. It depends if we bring in this defender. Realistically, for him to be able to play on Sunday, I think he needs to be registered by Friday by 12, is it? So when you think about it like that, I mean, I guess it depends what sort of shape we're in. I think if we can bring in a Mustafi, and it's a big if, but if we can bring in a Mustafi by Friday, maybe, just maybe, we may be able to draw that game. 1-1. And I know people might be a bit surprised by that prediction, but it's my honest belief that I think that, you know, with half of our players that are not fit, half of our players that are not able to compete because they're injured, or they've been playing in tournaments, and quite frankly, we're working with an experienced defence. However you want to see it, even if a Mustafi does come in, he's not played in the Arsenal team yet, which is why it was so important to get him at the start of the summer. And I think it might require us playing Alexis up front. And if Alexis does go up front, we're probably going to have to play a similar lineup to what beat City. Which, to be honest with you, with a Mustafi in there, fine, so be it. We've got to make the best of this particular situation. I'm not tremendously happy with the state of Arsenal. Hoping and praying for madness, but most definitely not expecting it. Let me know what you guys think. And you know what? Let me ask you guys a question. Genuinely ask you guys a question. I'm going to ask you the same question that Chris Hudson asked everybody on his Twitter. If we were to sign Mahrez and Mustafi and not buy a direct striker, would you be happy? Let me know down below. Anyway, I'm going to do another video tomorrow, probably around a similar time. I'm going to have Robbie Richard with me, and it's going to be a preview video to Liverpool. So if you're wondering, well, why haven't I really talked about it? That's because I'm saving it, and I've actually got an agenda and everything for that video tomorrow. So do check it out. I'm going to let you guys know on Twitter when that will be. Speaking of Twitter, if you're not following me already, make sure you follow me at Colossal Chig, CHIG, Colossal Chig, all one word, on Twitter. And if you're not already subscribed, what the heck are you doing? Just down below this video, there's a massive subscribe thing. Click on it, subscribe, and let me know what you think about this video. All right, people, take care. See you tomorrow. Peace.